we choose to live our days ultimately determines something huge. Whether we are living a life full of regret or a life full of meaning. Now, regret is one of the heaviest burdens to carry. And imagine getting to the end of your life and realizing that the things you worried about most didn't really matter, whilst the things that did, you ignored. Well, that is exactly what Bronnie Ware, a former palliative care nurse, discovered after spending years with people in their final moments. And after countless heartfelt conversations, she uncovered the 5 biggest regrets of the dying. Now, these are powerful lessons and reveal a lot about what truly matters in life. And in this video, I am going to be breaking down these 5 regrets and giving my personal interpretation of them whilst exploring how you can avoid them so that you can live a life that is fulfilling, meaningful, and most importantly, free of regret. Okay, I'm going to go in reverse order here, and regret number 5 is that I wish I had let myself be happy. And for me, this centers so much around the focus that we have on a destination state. And what I mean by this is that in life, I think we become so focused on things that we think we need to achieve and work towards. You know, maybe it's making more money or getting some sort of job promotion or getting in shape. And we think to ourselves that once we achieve these things, then I will be happy. The problem with that, though, is that it focuses so much on these goals and that destination state that you fail to appreciate the whole journey along the way and the whole joy of that journey. And in truth, I really do think that life actually is about the journey, not the destination. No matter what actually happens along the way, through the ups and downs and all the different experiences, the journey is really where joy comes from. Another key insight here is that I'm sure we have all achieved the things that we said were going to make us happy, but then when we actually did achieve them, we didn't feel any happier. And the reason for this, I think, is that when we do set these goals and then achieve them, we decide to just move the goalposts even further. For instance, maybe as we think that if I could just make £100,000, then I'll be happy. And then when we make £100,000, we actually think to ourselves, nah, I think it's £500,000. That's what's really going to make me happy. And we keep moving the destination and the goalpost, and that we fail to miss the joy of the whole journey along the way. And so the real takeaway here is to realize that happiness is a choice, not a result. And you can make that choice right now. And that's not to say that you can't have ambitions and goals and want more for yourself, because you can want all of those things, but still be utterly grateful for everything that you have in the present moment and really experience all that life has to offer and enjoy the whole journey and not just the destination. Okay, regret number 4 is that I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. And I think this is definitely one that I should tell myself, because as you do get a little bit older, you do become busier in life and you have these things that you want to achieve and you've got a lot of things going on, and it does become a little bit harder to stay in touch with people. But it is so clear to me now that we are social beings and we really do crave relationships. And I've heard so many people talk about how important relationships and connections are when it comes to happiness. And for me, I am a slightly more introverted type person and I definitely enjoy my own company. But even I can notice how if too long goes by without any real social connection, you do just start feeling a little bit more low and not quite so good. And clearly, based on this regret, that when we get to the end of our lives, it's not going to be money or power or status that we're going to care about. It's really love and relationships and connections. And so the key, I think, is to really realize just how important your friendships are and to really try to protect them at all costs. And this doesn't mean that you need to have millions of friends. It could just simply be that you've got 2 or 3 very close friends. But I think the thing that is most important is to really just think about the people that currently are in your life and the people that mean something to you and that are there for you, and to then just identify those people and make sure that you do stay in touch with them and protect those relationships. Regret number 3, I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. And we do in life, I think, bottle things up and we really do just suppress how we feel. And maybe that's because we're worried about losing or upsetting someone with our honesty. The truth, though, is that what you don't express, you suppress. And whilst you may be able to suppress things for a long time, at some point, something is likely to give. And when it does give, you might wind up acting irrationally or in a way that you didn't really want to, just because of how you were suppressing your emotions. Or maybe if you actually are able to suppress something for your whole life, clearly that is going to be something that you wind up regretting, and you will just look back and think, why the hell did I do that? And when it actually does come to our relationships, I really do think that they will be so much more healthy and more genuine with honesty and actually telling people how we feel. And if you can't actually be honest with someone, then that person is probably not someone that you actually should have in your life. And that's not to say that we should just discard how other people feel or have no account of other people's emotions, but ultimately, if we do really feel a certain way after assessing a situation and feel like we have something that we want to say, you gotta say it. Otherwise, it will just eat away at you. Regret number 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And for me, I think that there is a bit of this hustle culture in life at the moment where we do have these goals and these aspirations again. We feel like we've got to work really hard and constantly work towards these things and these pursuits. But the question, I guess, is at what cost is that coming? Because is all this work that we're doing, all the time that we're spending on work actually taking us away from some of the things that matter most in life? Like our relationships, like spending time with your kids, like going on holidays, like just pure joyful moments. I do think that there is a bit of nuance to this, however, because firstly, I am someone that believes that you can go through different chapters in life. And if it's maybe that you've just said to yourself, all right, for this next year, I do have to work super hard and be a little bit unbalanced with the rest of my life, but that 1 year is going to be worth it and I'm going to reap benefits from working so hard that year. That is probably okay. The problem, I think, though, is that when that year bleeds into 2, 3, multiple years, or maybe even your whole life, and that is probably not a good thing. I also think that we do need to consider here what we define by work, because I think for a lot of people here, work might be something that they've kind of just fallen into, but they don't really enjoy, but they're then just on this hamster wheel and working towards these pay rises and promotions and working super hard. And in that situation, I can see how you could get to the end of your life and then just think, geez, like, what have I just done for the last 30, 40 years of my life? That's my main thing that I've spent all this time on. And that sort of situation, I can see that not being good. But for some people, work isn't necessarily that. And for some people, work actually does give them purpose and meaning and joy. And if you fall into that category with your work, then that, I think, is probably okay. And so the takeaway for me here is to really realize that there is always going to be an opportunity cost in respect of the amount of time that you give to your work. But it is then so important to really think about that and to work out whether you are willing to pay those costs. And if after doing that assessment, you do then realize that actually work is taking us in the wrong direction and it is just taking away too much time for what actually matters most in life, well, that is when you do need to pull back a little bit and see if you can make a change, or maybe it's you can just simplify your life in some way so that you do have enough time for what matters most. And the number 1 regret is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. Powerful. And expectations, they definitely can be deadly, and expectations can come in different forms. For some, it might be career expectations, say from a family. Maybe you've got parents who say that you can only be a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant or something like that. For others, maybe it's social norms that you think you need to conform to, or ways that you need to act, which can really make you doubt or question yourself. But we only get one life, and clearly it is so important to live a life true to yourself and pursue your dreams and your aspirations. Because if you don't, it will just eat away at you forever, and you will always have question marks about what could have been different. And I think one of the biggest things that highlighted this for me in my own life was one of the biggest decisions, I guess, that I had to make was when I was 14 years old and I decided to leave normal schooling for 2.5 years to try and pursue a career as a professional tennis player. And at 17, I gave up tennis and I went back to normal school. And so clearly it didn't work out how I had dreamed it. But you know what? Whilst I did have to sacrifice quite a lot in those few years, I never regret that decision because I know that I stayed true to myself, and tennis was what I wanted most of the time. And I did, I went after it, and I can forever just look myself in the mirror and know that I gave it my best shot. Because if I didn't make that decision, I'm sure that I would always live to regret it. And so don't wait until things are too late to be your genuine self and to go after the things that you want most in life. And for some, that might mean that you need to let other people's dreams die so that you can live yours. But that is okay, and that is exactly what you should do. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to immediately turn your whole life upside down. It could, to begin with, just be going after mini dreams, say. Maybe it's you take that holiday that you always wanted to take, or you take that dance class down the road that you see that you think could be fun. But that will at least be a first step towards a life more genuine, and it could be a massive step towards a life that is more joyful and fulfilling. So there we have the top 5 regrets of the dying, according to Bronnie Ware. And I really do think that these are powerful lessons, and there is so much that we can take from them. And so I hope you did find at least some of this video useful. If you did, please do give this video a like or comment on how you found it. Please also do check out my previous upload here, and it'd be really great if you did subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much for watching this, and I will see you in my next video.